How many of you as parents remember an evening when your kid was crying in a crib and you said, I'm going to wait 5 minutes before I rush in just to see if she or he can calm herself? Because that's an important skill to learn. So your heart breaks as you listen to them cry, and then eventually they whimper, and then you hear them with their little gentle baby snore, and you feel a sadness and a gladness at the same time. They don't need me as much. Oh, but they found a way to be more in charge of themselves. How wonderful. My youngest son graduated college this spring. He's now living on his own. He has it. Both of my children have full-time jobs. I am grateful beyond all measure. But I still miss them. The go and the come, the start and the end. The rhythms of our lives are like lungs. We breathe in and breathe out. Everything about our lives can be measured as a going and a coming, an in and an out. And that's the lesson I want you to stick with right now. New years, new seasons, new lives, new days, new jobs. Whatever they are, there's this back and forth, going and coming, this breathing of life that we almost never notice. And my first message to you this morning is notice. Please notice. If you've ever studied meditation or anything like that, what do they always say? Notice your breath. I'm really bad at that. I'm not gifted at the meditation. You're gifted at that, I say, gesturing to Jason. But I'm gifted at other breathing. The breathing of parenthood, of days, of seasons. Notice how your life breathes and the lives around you breathe. The in and the out, the forward and the back, the going and the coming. This is what life is. It's not the bystanding at all. This is what we do. Notice it. Notice your life happening in the lives of others. So keep that. Notice how life breathes. My second message this morning is that the more you notice this rhythm of going and coming, of times and places, we will notice that the meaning of life is not in that back and forth at all, but in our willingness to keep breathing all together. Let me say this differently. Does your life mean anything? Does anyone's life mean anything? How do you know? You don't. You just don't. As I said in the early worship service, every morning you wake up and decide to live, you're placing a bet that today will matter. And you do it the next day and the next day. The greatest thing about human beings is that we choose to believe something so elemental we forget that we've chosen it. To think that life matters. Because there's no way to know that for sure. There's no way to know that it all works out, that it all counts. We bet our lives every blessed day. We make the breathing matter. We give it purpose. Back in June, I made good on a promise. I had sold my time at our church auction, and the man who bought it invited me to come out to his place and go kayaking on the Thornapple River. Now, the kayak club, you've heard about them already, has been trying to get me to go out with them for years, and I've always put them off. Kayak club, pay up. I sold my time, and I did exactly what the man said. He said, go kayaking. So here's my challenge to the kayak club. Make a contribution to the church, and I am so there. I didn't know I was going kayaking, though. He said it when I got there. And so we got out a couple of kayaks. It was too short, so my knees are kind of bent. They're kind of kissing my shins my chin as I get in. And I'm paddling along, and I'm thinking, this is just going to be terrible. I know this is going to be awful. I'm going to tip over. I'm going to get wet. And then in the middle of all my worrying about it, my host pointed me to the shore and said, over there's a heron Now, I looked at the heron, and then the heron looked back. And the heron doesn't really want to hang around with us. And somehow it does what herons do so beautifully, kind of fluffed its wings, gathered up some air, and then kind of broad breaststroked across the air. You ever watch them fly? They just push the air behind them like this. And it came to rest on a little stump about 50 yards further along, saying, I'm going to stay over here. And you know, when they land, they just kind of park, and suddenly those feathers just kind of fold up nonchalantly like an old man with his hands behind his back. And I just gasped at the beauty of it. I went, ah. And that's important because you'll notice I breathed in on purpose. I noticed the breathing. On the way down the river, on another log, there were a whole bunch of little turtles who saw us coming, and they don't like people any more than the heron does. So off they go into the stream, like dropping so many stones. And I sighed. I breathed in consciously with the beauty. I breathed out consciously with the life. My lesson for you, my third lesson, is that every time we breathe in on purpose, we add meaning to life. And every time we breathe out on purpose, we add meaning to life. That's when we give ourselves to the possibility that there's something at stake, and it isn't just life. It matters. It counts. There's something going on, and I can't name it, but there's something going on out there, and I believe in it, and I don't even know what its name is. But I'm sure there's something at stake, and I want to be a part of it. My gift for you this morning, if you wish it, is that when you have those moments, you get a sense of connection that you don't get every day. You know what I mean? We phone it in, don't we? We wonder if it matters. We wonder if it counts. But then you have these moments with a heron or a baby or a turtle. It could be anywhere, and suddenly life feels like it counts. And you know why? Because you feel the connection. You feel like it's all connected. You feel like you're in the middle of something. You're not just all by yourself. An early Hasidic rabbi, Dov Ber, tells this story about his son, who he found crying one afternoon, and he said, "Son, what's the problem?" And the little boy said, "Well, we were playing hide and seek, and I hid so well that people stopped looking for me." Are you playing hide and seek with life? Are you going off on a corner waiting for it to come and find you? Are you waiting to be told you belong? Are you waiting to be invited to the party? Or are you going to get inside it and breathe it in and breathe it out? Are you going to take the risk of being found by life? Bell Hooks, a great writer, feminist, scholar of race and other suspicious causes, makes the following observation in her book, All About Love. A generous heart is always open, always ready to receive our coming and going. Did you hear that? She goes on. In the midst of such love, we need never fear abandonment, because this is the most precious gift love offers, the experience of knowing we always belong. When we experience the heron or the baby or the turtle or the friend, those moments that make us gasp or sigh, it is not just that it is beautiful, we sense we belong at a basic, existential, irrevocable, inalienable level that says, I am part of something and it is part of me. It is knowing that every time you take in a breath, a molecule of that air was somewhere in the lungs of Jesus. And that is an absolute scientific fact. You belong. In a world that is trying to divide us into us and them, into good and bad, it is a powerful and radical message to say, we belong. If you ever played hide and seek, you know how it ends, don't you? There's always someone who doesn't get found. They're too good at it. So whoever started the game says, Olly, Olly, Oxen free. Everyone, come home. Everyone, come back. No outsiders allowed. Do not stay hidden. Come out, come back. In the words of Micah and Hosea, we hear the words, I took them back in love. To holler, Olly, Olly, oxen free, is to say, my love is too large for you to be gone. Come back, come back. And maybe we don't say that about God anymore, but if we don't say it to our own lives, to our own families, to our own neighborhoods, then what hope is there? Think today of all the false borders between neighbors and cities and states, between parties that are ever more divided, between genders and classes and sexualities that don't care if you're over there and you don't get found. We are the church of Olly, Olly, oxen free. Come home, come back, you belong. There are real borders out there. There are borders between nations and religions. There is hatred, there is struggle and war. Someone has to say, Olly, Olly, oxen free, come home, you belong. And who knows, if we say it often enough, maybe God will show up too. Maybe the thing we've been searching for is not so much hiding but present if we just invite it into our lives. Olly, Olly, oxen free, friends. That's what Fountain Street Church is all about. Come back, come home, because you belong here. Because you belong anywhere, because we all belong everywhere. I wish I had a better sermon for you this morning, but that's what happens when your computer doesn't work. But I'll be back next week and I'll try again. See you in church. Amen.